Hey leader, David Burkus here, organizational psychologist and author of 4 best-selling books on helping teams do their best work ever. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how the best teams work together. Teamwork has never been a more important reality in the world of work. I mean, we've known for decades on the importance of teams. We've known that individual performance actually flows out of a team's ability to connect and work together. We know that talent flows from teams. We know that the best teams win, and we've had some pretty good theories about how the best teams work together. But it wasn't until about 5 years ago that we had really good data on how the best teams truly worked together. And this was because not only was it organizational psychologists and other researchers looking from the outside into an organization and trying to identify what made those teams work the best, it was because of a partnership between one of the largest organizations in the world, one of the most multinational organizations in the world, and those same high-level organizational psychologists. And because of that, you got an inside look and an outside look together. It was steeped in research with really solid methodology. Of course, I am talking about the 2015 Google People Analytics project, Project Aristotle. And what Project Aristotle was all about was trying to answer the question, how do the best teams work together? And in collecting data for Project Aristotle, Google and the team looked at a variety of different factors around teams. They tried to figure out what the right recipe for team success was. They looked at whether or not teams were co-located or fully distributed or some sort of hybrid. They looked at the levels of introversion and extroversion on the team. They looked at the academic backgrounds and of course the work history. They looked at the right match of genders and whether or not there was a right balance between those things. They looked at workload size. How much work were we asking them to do? They looked at tenure of employees. Was it new teams? Was it senior teams? Was it some sort of mix? Did teams that were a higher level of seniority in the organization perform better? They looked at just about every aspect of what makes up a team to try and figure out what could explain how the best teams worked. But it turned out the answers weren't any of that. It turned out it wasn't about how a team was composed and who was on it. It was about how they behaved. It was about the norms and behavior and culture when the team was working together that really made the difference as to whether or not the team succeeded or failed. When they looked at all of those aspects, they found 5 core traits, 5 core behaviors, 5 things that the best teams did to work together. Dependability, structure and clarity, meaning, impact, and psychological safety. And we're gonna look at each one of those in turn right now. Dependability refers to the extent to which team members felt accountable to each other. Could they literally depend on each other? Did they know what to expect when working with someone? Did they know when someone gave them an estimate of how they could return a deliverable? Did they know to believe that estimate or not? Did they take people at their word on what they said they could do? And did they also know that what a person was taking on was a match for their knowledge, skills, and abilities? Now, if you're thinking about your own team, you can increase dependability in a number of ways. You can clarify the roles and responsibilities of each team member, right? If you haven't figured it out, most people don't actually end up doing the thing that the job description they were hired for says that they're supposed to be doing. And if you don't replace that initial description with a lot of clarity around the exact tasks or bundle of tasks that people are asking to do, you might reduce dependability. You can also develop concrete project plans to help increase transparency, help let people know what each other are working on, and help to do what I often call working out loud so that everybody knows exactly what to expect from everyone else, the timeline, and how all of those puzzle pieces fit together. And the last thing, and this might be my favorite thing to do, you could draw up a team working agreement. You can look at the factors that matter for making your team work and call a meeting where we discuss how do we want to keep each other informed? How do we want to communicate with each other? And how do we want to give each other feedback? Let's come to a set of agreements on what the best way we can do that is. And in doing so, we'll build a sense of dependability. Now, the beautiful thing about a team working agreement is that it leads to the second element, which is structure and clarity. The extent to which team members understand the roles and responsibilities and the rules of engagement for how to operate. Structure and clarity means that people are regularly communicating, not just that they're there, but what they're working on, what questions they have, and where they need to get feedback. As a team leader, developing structure and clarity really falls on you to make sure that people are properly communicating, but also that you're using those rare times, and they should be rare, that you're calling team meetings to make sure that people are aware of what's on the agenda for that meeting, and also aware during that meeting of what the future objectives and key performance indicators are going to be. The level that people know exactly what to be working on from day to day will not only make them more productive, which is one of the most obvious things out there, but it will also increase the level of structure and clarity on your team. Now, the next element that Project Aristotle found is meaning. Do people work with a sense of meaning? Do they believe that the work that they're doing has significance? It should come as no surprise that I'm a big fan of this meaning and purpose idea. I often like to distill it as, do people know what we're fighting for and how their job plays a part in winning that battle? But there's a variety of other ways that you can develop a sense of meaning on a team. I've seen stats that upwards of 36% of people don't actually believe their job has any significance. And one of the core reasons for that is that no one is telling them how their job helps other people or how their job benefits the larger organizational goals and mission. And as a team leader, that falls on you. So give team members positive feedback on something that they're doing, and also link that feedback to the outcomes for the larger team or for the organization so that they understand the significance of the work they're being asked to do. In the same way, when you publicly express gratitude to people, and you should be publicly expressing gratitude to people on your team, make sure you're again linking that action that they are taking to the broader organizational mission or the broader organizational purpose that is a part of the team, and that their role is a part of the team's part of the broader organizational significance. It can be easy, especially in a very large organization, it can be very easy for people to forget how their one small, seemingly insignificant role is actually incredibly significant. I mean, we know it's incredibly significant. If it wasn't, probably would have been outsourced by now. Along with meaning is the next element that Project Aristotle finds, which is impact. Now, this is similar, but a little bit different from meaning. Meaning is about how well you feel that your role or the team's overall role serves the organizational mission and the organizational purpose. Impact is how well you can see the people that are served by serving that purpose, specifically inside the organization. Do you have what psychologists for decades have called task significance in the jobs that you're asking people to do? Do they see how their work is interdependent on other people's work, and they know directly who benefits and how they benefit from doing a great job? You can increase and achieve this impact factor in how your team works together in a number of ways. As the leader, one of the best things you could do is make sure that you are capturing wins, whether that's internally, like you're getting an email from your boss or your boss's boss or the CEO about how your team helped them meet an organizational goal. Make sure you capture that. If you have stories from customers that benefit from the work that you're doing, make sure that you capture that. And more importantly, make sure that you share it off to the team early and often. And you don't want to be telling the same old story for years and years and years, which is what a lot of managers have to do because they don't take the time to capture the wins as they come in, and then they're scrambling to remember why the whole team's job has any sense of impact. So capture those things and communicate them frequently. Now, the last piece that Project Aristotle found, the last element of how the best teams work together, is that they work together with psychological safety. Psychological safety is something I've talked about before. It refers to the extent to which team members feel that they can be themselves, the extent to which team members operate with a sense of trust and respect. Now, those are two different things, remember. Trust is that I believe in you, that you are going to be reliable to me, and then also when I tell you things, they're told in a spirit of trust. Respect is that I believe that you trust me, or I believe that you respect my ability as a person. Psychological safety, whether or not you have this sense of trust and respect, really affects whether or not people can bring their whole selves to work and be productive. What we don't want, especially as we face complex challenges, is we don't want people self-censoring. We don't want people to have ideas about how we could solve an issue and then not share it with anybody because they're too afraid of being judged, or they're too afraid of being made fun of, or they're too afraid of a boss that thinks that they don't actually respect their individual ideas. So as a leader, one of the best ways you can build psychological safety, in addition to things like a team working agreement, is that you can watch your own behaviors for what conveys trust and respect in people. You can delegate decisions. You can Tell people the intent and let them set the objectives that they need for that next work sprint or for the next even quarter to demonstrate that you trust them. You can make sure that you're communicating with respect, you're not interrupting too much, you're giving people voice, you're calling on people who seem like they want to share but don't feel empowered enough to share it. And the best way I know actually to make sure that you are being respectful in all your interactions is to appoint a buddy, a watcher, somebody that you already trust and preferably that you already respect, somebody who can watch your behavior and then give you feedback after a meeting or after an interaction and say, you know, you said this and I don't think she responded the way you think she responded, and now she's wondering whether or not you respect her work or her value as a person. This is great feedback to capture. It's probably not going to be as drastic as the example that I just gave you, but it's probably going to be little things, little slights, little behaviors that you didn't know that you do that only somebody else is going to be able to watch. That's how you build respect. When you couple that with trust, you begin to build psychological safety, which begins to let people express themselves more, which begins to get the team much more engaged and begins to set them on the path to being one of the best teams in your organization. Now, ordinarily, when I talk about things like psychological safety or meaning or purpose, I'll give a couple different tips and I'll say things like, okay, so those 4 ways are not an exhaustive list, but it's a little different this time. This is an exhaustive list. It's literally an exhaustive list because the Google People Analytics team and the organizational psychologist that they partnered with exhausted all other options. They looked at everything that could possibly explain how the best teams work together, and what they found was dependability, structure and clarity, meaning, impact, and psychological safety. And so as you look at your own team, if you want your team to be one of the best teams, you've got to watch for how they work together. Do they work together with structure and clarity and dependability? Do they work with a sense of meaning and impact? And most importantly, when they interact, do they interact with a sense of psychological safety? If they don't, then there's some work to do as the leader to help them do their best work ever. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you really liked it and you want to go deeper, then check out the resources we have for you and your team at davidburkus.com/resources. Guaranteed there's something in there that'll help you do your best work ever.